Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. How are you doing? For us, we are doing fine. Trying to put one or two things together to bring you the QTV this morning. And I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. I'm with Julden Jai. Julden, we miss you. We keep missing you on this program. How are you?
Apparently, I'm only here on Tuesdays now. Yeah, but it's good to be back.
The reason he's missing you is because when you're not here, I sit there.
Yes.
So he would rather have you than me, is what he's saying. Really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Good morning, Balde. Good morning to Mr. Ade and to our wonderful viewers from wherever you're watching us. It's always good to be back on this platform. I must say I missed everyone here.
And we miss you.
Exactly. So, Mr. Ade, how are you?
I'm fine. I had a nice, relaxed evening yesterday. I just chilled when I got home. Got home around 10 o'clock, but I just took it easy. Watched the news from around the world. It's a crazy world. There's so many wars going on. It's total madness, honestly. And some of them barely even get a mention. Myanmar, of course, Ukraine and Israel, Gaza get a lot of the headlines, but Sudan, just everywhere. And now North Korea is they're blowing up the roads that link North and South Korea. They don't want anything to do with South Korea anymore. So they're actually destroying the roads that link the two countries. Crazy.
It's that bad now.
Yeah.
Well, war is the enemy. At some point,
I mean, that's the kind of low level.
There'll be development. They'll be retarding development at some point. Imagine destroying all those roads, all the network, the connection. At some point, you have to come and start.
If you make peace, you have
again.
to make them all over again.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. So that's why making peace it's the best thing we can do. Yes, on the program, as usual, the African code. We have one today from Africa, and it's a Kenyan proverb.
Kenyan proverb.
Then we'll be talking to Alaji Jallo, our regional correspondent, in connection with the floods in Basse.
Look quite dramatic from what I saw. Some very dramatic images and quite shocking.
Well, it's not shocking to me.
Yeah.
Knowing Basse, every year this happens.
Right.
I mean, there is a point whereby the river will flow like into the town itself. Where you have the market, that's where people take little canoe to cross to the other side of the bank. I've been really forecasting that, and I know it will happen this year when there are heavy rains. It happens every year in Basse.
Right.
In fact, my people will tell you in the 1960s or the 70s, they will tell you at some point, the whole town was overpowered by the water.
By water.
Yes.
Really? Wow.
So it happens in Basse almost every time.
So for someone like myself, who I've been to Basse a couple of times, it was seeing the flooding was quite dramatic and for me shocking. But for you, of course,
it is not. It is not.
I
mean, we play in that.
But it will be interesting to know what the authorities are doing about this thing.
And what they can do about it.
I just said it happens every year. So what are we doing for this not to happen?
Yeah.
Because when it keeps happening, it affects businesses and lives of people as well. I remember there are instances where people died, due to the flooding.
It's one of these things, what can we do? I mean, it's not unique to Basse. There are places all over the world where that is what happens when, annual flooding happens. When it recedes, people come back, and then when the rain seasons come and they bring with them the rains and the waters rise, the place floods again. I'm not sure there's much one can do, sadly.
Yeah, so from Alaji Jallo, then we will also engage the economic team. They'll be here and we'll be talking about the breast cancer screening and awareness month, Pink October. They were here last week and we had a very important discussion on breast cancer. And we are happy that the economic team in the Gambia are also engaging in helping people to save their lives. And we'll also be talking to GCPC, School on Study Consumers welfare. So they will be on the program. The team will also be here. So let's look at the African code.
You forgot to mention that Mr. Gajaka will be joining us to go back over the
Gajaka.
football.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Q Sports.
Q Sports.
Mainly the fact that Gambia won yesterday against Madagascar, but I won't spoil it. He'll be here to talk about it. Yeah.
Yes, Julia.
So our African code this morning is path of a liar is very short. Mr. Ali was saying
Yeah.
some of
yeah.
them are not short.
Well, I was saying before we came on air, I mean, there are some people who they are habitual liars, and they've lied all their life, and they could probably live to be 70 or 80 and they'll still be lying, and they just can't help themselves. So I'm not sure whether the path of a liar is very short. What they're trying to get at with this. Perhaps they mean that if you tell a lie, at some point the truth will emerge, and that will put an end to the lie. But sometimes the truth might not emerge, and the lie, and the path might end up being very long indeed. So yeah, an interesting one. But this is from Kenya. So I mean, I'm not sure I've interpreted it, but I've tried to understand it. Which is good. I mean, we always say that the reason we have these proverbs and these quotes is to kind of rack our brains a bit and see whether we can make sense of them. Some of them are very kind of obscure. So yeah, the path of a liar is very short. Julia, what's your take on it? I'm imagining.
I like coming last. Well, what is your take?
Well, I mean, let's give her last then.
Yeah, that's
She
fine.
claimed for coming last.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
let's
yeah, that's
accept
fine.
that. As far as she will also give us her interpretation.
Of course.
It's like a movie.
After
Ending
taking
is
all your
always
ideas.
interesting.
It's worth waiting
Yeah,
for the
so
ending.
the path of a liar is very short. It's telling you the truth will prevail one day, no matter what happened. I mean, it might take 10, 20, 30, 40 years, but one day the truth will manifest itself, and everybody is going to know the truth.
So, but that's more like, what you and I are saying is like the path of the lie is short rather than the liar. The liar might be dead by the time the truth comes out.
Yeah.
So the lie itself.
So the lie itself
The lie
might be. It might be, but it's an interesting one because I'm not sure. I remember we were discussing one, and you said you disagreed with the. So I'm not sure, but I think on this occasion, I've always said you can't disagree with the proverb. But I think I might have to disagree with this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The path of a liar, Julia.
It's very short. I mean, like the saying goes, 99 days for the thief and 1 day for the honor.
Yeah.
And the path of a liar can be short in a sense that, okay, you're fond of telling lies to people. Sometimes you can just come, because you're fond of telling lies to people, you tell people stuff that you even forgotten that you have told them already, which was a lie. So at the end of the day, like some people who are reasoning will be like, but you said these things the other day, and now you're coming up with this
And
one.
you've
So
forgotten.
it's very easy actually to know if someone is lying. That is because they won't be consistent unless if the person is an expert in the area. But if you lie, you always come back to the truth, because like you mentioned the other day, when it is the truth, you don't have to remember it.
Yeah, quite.
It comes naturally.
Yeah.
But when it is a lie, you come up with ways to form it, ways to arrange it, and all of that. And sometimes it just escapes you. And that's it. You sell yourself out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, that is my own interpretation.
True, as you said, I mentioned the other day, and it's one of the things I think we should try and teach our children.
Yeah.
That be honest, and there were times growing up when it was kind of weird, because our parents had so drummed it into our heads about telling the truth, about being honest, that there were times when you wanted to lie, but kind of ringing in your head was the fact that your parents had always said to you, be honest, and you would say to them, they would ask you a question, did you do this? You wanted to say no because you knew you were going to get a punishment.
Yeah.
You might be grounded for a week or a month, something severe, and you'd end up saying, yes, I did it, knowing full well what the consequence was going to be. But on the other side was the fact that if you lied and said, no, I didn't do it, you realize that A, if they found out, the punishment would be even more severe, or B, also the disappointment that they would feel that you lied to them.
Lied, yeah.
So it's kind of weird. We kind of grew up with that.
Interestingly, for me, during our childhood days, if you do something wrong, and if my dad is about to whip you, when he asks you, did you do this? When you tell him, yes, I did it, he won't whip you again. You know, when you tell him the truth, he won't beat you again. Who did this? He won't beat you again. You know, so it's like sometimes people might fear the consequences of telling the truth.
Yeah, quite. But the consequences of not telling the truth are even greater. So both for yourself and your self-esteem, and also the respect that you have between yourself and your parents or your peers, you know, whatever it may be. It's always good to tell the truth.
You know, now I've seen a generation whereby the kids are not whipped anymore. I mean,
it's not a bad thing.
For us, we were whipped very well. We were dealt with very well.
Because you guys probably had it lucky. We are the ones who
dealt with us very well.
Like you had schools where teachers walked around with canes. Why would they do that? To intimidate, to scare, to you know, and they used them. They didn't just hold it for fun or for show, you know. And I think back to those times, and of course those who came after us and didn't meet that, they find it strange when we tell them this, but it's the truth. You know, there are schools where, you know,
there's no corporal punishment in schools now.
You
know.
Quite.
Yeah. So Julde, you want to add something on that, or you?
We delve into the newspapers after the break.
Go to the newspaper review. Yeah. So do we have the papers? Yeah. I mean, do we have anything?
They should be loaded up.
Yes, we of course we must have. I've seen a couple of stories making headlines, and I think it will be important for us to delve into those papers as well.
Stories both home and abroad.
Yeah, so we have the Standards newspaper. Cattle owners complained of police harassment.
Yeah, again, as we were very lucky the other day, you brought in a newspaper and we were able to delve into the newspaper to go behind the headlines and beyond the headlines. So again, I'm not sure what the circumstances are that you know, these cattle owners are being harassed by the police, but it would be interesting to know. You know,
I am pretty sure it might be these cattle that were roaming the streets, and the police apprehended those cattle.
But why would the owners complain?
Probably, maybe to go and get their cattle back. I wouldn't
call that harassment.
Only and until.
I wouldn't call that harassment, but yeah. So that one, I'm not sure we can dive
really
too deeply into it.
Deep into that.
Yeah. What else do we have?
Okay, rights group writes to OP demanding information about 57 vehicles donated to NAMS.
And that's the right to the Office of the President.
Yeah.
I actually have their press release. It's quite long. I won't read it. But they've asked about several things, not just the vehicles donated to the National Assembly members. They've, you know, done a kind of freedom of information or access to information, as it's called here, request. And so they've written to six, actually. They've written to the Office of the President, Ministry of Lands. They've written to Fisheries. They've written to the Gambia Tourism Board, Gambia Ports Authority, and the States-Owned Enterprises Commission. So amongst other things, they've asked about the 57 pickup trucks, the performance contract signed by the President on the state-owned enterprises, Gambia Ports Authority, GNPC, Gambia National Petroleum Corporation, Social Security and Housing. And they've also asked for details of the original proposal of the Ministry of Lands and Regional Governments to the Cabinet meeting of 19th September 2024 on the de-reserving of parts of Abuko Nature Reserve, full report on the multi-sectoral task force, the State-Owned Enterprises Commission on NAWEC, full report on the fire incident at the Ministry of Fisheries in 2019, revenue collected by the GT Board from 2017 to December 2023, and the signed concession agreement between the Gambia Ports Authority and Al Bayrak Group of Turkey. So quite an extensive list of things, not just the Office of the President, about the 57 vehicles. That's kind of one of the headlines things that kind of jumps at you, but they've written extensively, and you know, they have a right to request make a freedom of
it's
access to
important.
information.
Yeah.
But I must say, I wanted to read the act before I came down just to be sure, because in all these acts, all over the world, there are certain exemptions to what can and cannot be released to the public. And if it is denied, you have to give the reason for the denial. And if you then deny it, then there's the commission which will oversee, and the commission can override anybody, even the office of the president. You can't just say, we're not sharing it because we don't want to. No. If it's not justifiable, you have to release the information. So I'll read and see what the exemptions are in the Gambia.
Yeah, it's significant. You know, for organizations like this to stand and request for certain information.
I've always been surprised that journalists haven't done so.
Yeah, so we need it. I mean, you see, access to information bill. I mean, I can see, you know, when it started, everybody was excited. But at some point, people might not even know, you know, this law is already there.
It's no longer a bill. It's no longer a bill. It's an act.
It's an act. So utilizing it, I mean, I think everybody should work very hard to be able
I think some of the problems are to do with the fact that the commission isn't properly set up. The ministries and the government departments are not properly set up. Each one has to have an information officer who is responsible for receiving and responding to those requests. So all of that takes time. And I always felt that we were kind of trying to run before we could walk, because, you know, it's fine passing the bill and patting ourselves on the back and say, oh, we have an access to information. But is the mechanism there
in place,
to deliver? Is the system in operation? At the moment, it simply is not. So sometimes when they're getting these denials of requests, yes, we have a kind of culture of secrecy, but it's not always to do with that. It's just that they're just not set up to respond properly. So it will be interesting to see what happens with this one.
Yeah. Absolutely. So another headline on the Standard newspaper. This is a story we carried yesterday in our yesterday's news. That is, Sonko announces Senegal 2050 breakthrough program.
Yeah, I can't remember who did the story, but it was a very interesting story on the news. Was it you, Julde? It was really ambitious program, projects that he delivered. The whole session was about 5 hours long. They had dancers at the beginning, they had Baba Mal at the end, and in between, we had Sonko, you had Jomai Fai, had a huge, you know, all the ambassadors from all the countries were invited, all the National Assembly members were there, and it's a really ambitious plan. I won't go through all of it, it's 17 pages, but I'll just read some of the headlines of what he wants to happen. And so they said this is a new development model. A lot of it is going to be driven by the fact that they now oil revenue will be coming in. He says, we want to make Senegal a sovereign, just and prosperous country, I beg your pardon, in 25 years. And he says by 2050, Senegal will be part of the upper middle income countries of the world. By 2050, Senegal will be a sovereign country. It will achieve its food sovereignty with an increase in productivity, an increase in production of agriculture, fisheries, aquaculture, livestock, etc., etc. In 2050, Senegal will be sovereign in terms of security and defense. And it says Senegal will be a just country by 2050 for men and women, and all social inequalities will have been removed. Senegal will be a fair country because it will have reduced inequalities between men and women. And a prosperous nation by 2050. They want to reduce the poverty rate from its current 37.5% down to 5%. That's quite bold. By
37.5.
Involves a lot of combination of efforts.
And so some of what he said, there was a point when there was a gasp in the audience, because he said one of the things we have to address is the fact that Dakar, a capital, only accounts for 0.3% of the territory of Senegal, and yet it consumes 46% of our GDP. He said that cannot be right. He said, so because of that, we will be devolving to the regions and making sure that every single part of Senegal benefits from the prosperity that is
centralize it.
And he used the word which I thought was so inappropriate. He talked about the macrocephaly of Dakar with that they will free Senegal. Now, microcephaly refers to people whose heads are too big for the rest of their body, particularly because of their age. So I'm not sure why he used that word, but I checked in both the French and the English translation. That's exactly what he said. So I guess that statistic that I've just given, 0.3% of the land area and yet 46% of the GDP, probably tells you, you know, what it is. But
what he means.
What he means by that. That it's quite. And then he mentioned areas that take up 45% of the land area, but only get 9.5% of the GDP. So it was quite wide-ranging, and very, very ambitious. I mean, it will be interesting to see. And of course, it's come just before the local elections.
Well, now the thing is, I mean, how are you going to achieve that?
Well, they're getting oil revenue.
That's it. I mean,
and
getting oil revenue.
Sector involvement.
Well, at the end of the time, getting oil revenue is not the only thing, but also making sure the finances of that oil of that oil goes to. I mean, we've seen Nigeria.
No.
Nigeria
that's
got
the
oil
point.
revenue, but they are not using it very well.
They're one of the worst. They're one of the worst examples we can give. But just the bad example of Nigeria. Go to the Arab countries. Look what they've done with their oil revenue. So if you use it wisely and properly, then
that's
of course you can.
about.
And that's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about. But I mean, the opposition came out and said it was over-ambitious. But you have to be bold. You have to be bold. And you can't just have 5-year plans and then you say, oh, we do this, do that. Be bold. And so he talked about the reason we're going to devolve to the regions is because we're going to make good transport links so everybody can benefit from good transport links. And we want to get, you know, government and businesses to set up across the regions so they can employ people locally, so you don't have the kind of rural-urban drift that you have in almost every country. I mean, that one, I don't know how you're going to manage it, because whatever country you go to, you always have people. You go to England, people want to drift to London, even though Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, they're all as developed as London, and yet people want to go to London and live there. You know, the capital city will always have that draw. It's not going to be any different. I don't care how much. Look, in Nigeria, they moved from Lagos to Abuja, and yet Lagos population is, what, 5 times that of Abuja. You're never going to change that, your dynamic, just because you say, oh, you know, we want to do it. So it's a bold vision, but, you know, can you change human nature? And so they might decide to move the capital from Dakar to somewhere else. But I urge people, if they can, to either watch the piece or get the translated version of the speech. But
there's a lot to learn from it.
There's a lot from it, but it's like you said, you know, it's using the oil revenue wisely is the thing, rather than just saying, oh, we're going to use it. But this is comprehensive. And another important factor to mention is that the previous government, when they did their 5-year plan, they got one of the big American companies to do it. For this one, they got a Senegalese company to do the survey.
The private sector.
So...
All right, let's see what will happen. We have Alaji Jallo, our regional correspondent in Basse. I mean, on the line, we will engage him on the floods in Basse. And we'll now have Alaji. Alaji, good morning. How are you?
Yes, good morning, Balde. I'm fine. Alhamdulillah. Thank God.
Oh, that's my brother from Basse. I mean, Alaji, I worry more, you know.
Amay ko an achi an zachi ko to ma ko dum watama
mi do arde hoda gol ma de balde.
Yeah, no problem, you're most welcome.
All right, Elaji, I mean, let's talk about the floods in Basse. Before the I mean, I was discussing with Mr. Ade. I said, okay, for us, for me, for people like me, an origin from Basse, these floods are not new to me. You know, it happens year in, year out. So maybe for someone new, you might find it very surprising. But here, what are we going to do so that we can put an end to this?
Yeah, thank you, Balde, for having me on the show. Like you said, it is not something new. But remember that not every time it happens, like you said, it happens every year. But last year we did not witness this flood. Okay. Yeah. So it's like a phenomenon in Basse for quite a long, for over decades now. We experience such floods, but sometimes it is not due to the downpour of rain. You know, if you look at the situation of Basse, there is this river flow from the Fouta Jalons Island. All the rains that will come from that end will flow around this end to the rivers here. So the river here is connected to that particular those streams. But to come back to the floods, this particular flood, in fact, the footage that you are seeing, the pictures you are seeing on your screen, this is happening right now because I took these footages this very morning.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
This very morning.
Wow.
And it's getting serious, now the waters have almost taken most part of that area. If you know Basse, the Marsecheru, the one we used to call Marsecheru, that's the market for the dry season.
Yes.
You know, the reason why it is called the market for the dry season is because during the wet season, like the rainy season,
people evacuate.
Waters take over the place. And as we see, the waters have taken all the businesses. Their businesses are completely submerged into the waters, as we are observing right now. And the other side of the river, the near MRC, if you know where Medical Research Council is, gradually the waters are going into the camp, and the staff of the MRC camp, if they are to go inside the camp, they have to use their pickup vehicles. They will, if you look at the pictures on the screen, sometimes it's just disturbing. Like you said, what are we going to do? Let me tell you, climate change is a reality. You know, sometimes people question that, but this is a reality. And as a result, if you go to the beach, where the bridge was built, this is where I took this picture from, on the screen, and almost the entire area of that particular place has gone into water. So it's just shocking, very shocking, and the waters are coming gradually getting into the town. The question is, what should we do and what are we going to do? This is where everybody is involved. We have to have all hands on deck. Government and other partners have to come to support to make sure that we address it. But also, it has to do with a human attitude, because some of the people, they are living and settling on waterways. And the waters have to find their ways when flood happens. So this is the situation on the ground in Basse. It's unfortunate, but this is what we are experiencing right now. It has hampered businesses as we're speaking, and the progress of work, what is happening in that area where the medical research staff will be going to work, and right now work is not going as normal.
Wow, that's unfortunate, Mr. Ade.
That's really scary. Alaji, you said that last year we didn't have this. From your experience, is this as bad or worse than you've seen over the last, I don't know, decade or so? If you had to compare.
We last saw this type of incident, that was 2003. 2003. Such things happened. In fact, it came right, not even far away from the main market. If you know the main market where the police station is, 2003 it happens. So this is a similar thing we are seeing right now as it is coming. So it's getting worse, you know, because if you look at the area around the MRC, you have rice fields. Our past stories that we have brought on the news, we have seen almost all the rice field within the region has submerged completely. So as we speak, it's getting worse, like I said. You know, we have not experienced such thing for over 10 to 15 years now.
How many people, Alaji, how many people were affected as far as this flooding is concerned? Are there any injuries or displacements?
Well, as we speak, we have not yet got that information, that statistics. We cannot speak on that behalf, but I believe the authorities, they have gone around, because there was a time I was made to understand the regional authorities went around to see the affected areas. But with regards to the flooding in Basse, if we estimate, particularly the businesses around that end, you have a number of businesses around that. The shops, in fact, all the shops around that end have closed. They've closed, and some of their materials, their commodities, are right inside the water. Because this is like it's a surprise to all of them. And when I was there yesterday in the morning, unfortunately, I was unable to speak to some of them. But they all expressed concern that is going to really disturb their income and also disturb their well-being.
In that case, it is clear that this is not a new thing in Basse. So what has the authorities there been doing about the situation?
Well, it's just unfortunate. This flood is not something new in Basse. We have been reporting issues of flood for quite a long time on different platforms. But all the time we see is the authorities will come, they will see, they will discuss, but we have not seen any proactive role, taking place to address such disasters. So it's not just a matter to come and observe and see, but what are we going to do, to avert such situation? Because if you look at the topography of that particular area, that place is a sloopy area, and then it's also a swampy area. So if actually authorities are very, very cognizant of that particular thing, they should engage the experts to see how best they can address the situation. But as we speak, we have not yet seen any action done from authorities as we speak. But all that we see, we have seen them going around for them to find out what is happening, and they will get first-hand information. But what next to do, we actually have not yet seen that.
Thank you.
I don't know if I have time. Just, Alaji, you mentioned that there are some people who have built on water, obviously waterways. In previous years, when the authorities have arrived, have they tried to tell those people to move or force them to move? What's been the situation regarding that?
Well, with regards to that, Mr. Ade, when the new project came, that is the construction of the road and the bridge, we were made to understand some of the people that were settling on the waterways, they were asked to move. In fact, some of them were even compensated to leave that particular territory. But most of them are adamant, and they are still there. So the authorities have instructed them to move. But the reason why they did not, we actually don't know, and they are still settling in that particular area. It's just like the last one that I've reported with regards to that dilapidated building that happened the last time. The authorities were there, they asked them to move from that area. But as we speak, they are still there. So I don't know if whether people are not taking them serious.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a matter of taking your responsibility, as a citizen as well. I mean, because at some point it will affect, your action might affect everybody,
Of course.
So, Alaji Jallow, yes.
In fact, I said this. I said people must have to take responsibility. Do not allow a government to come and say, hey, do this, when you know actually what is happening is affecting you directly. So why should you wait for people to tell you move? So I think people have to take responsibility and be able to avert some of those things happening right now.
Yes, thank you very much.
Alaji, thank you very much.
Alaji Jallow, we appreciate for you taking your time to at least give us update as to what's happening in Basse, and we hope to engage you more in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Valde, human beings are very funny. In Fogo, the island of Fogo in Cabo Verde, the volcano erupted. The government told everybody to move. They moved for about 5 days. The volcano was still erupting. Everybody moved back.
They returned.
18 people ended up
to their
dead.
normal position.
18 people were killed.
They killed themselves.
And despite the fact the government had told them
to move.
Human beings were very weird.
Yeah, so Mr. Adedrame, thank you very much for reviewing some of these stories with us. And,
thoroughly enjoyed it.
We hope to... tomorrow you will be Julda again.
Oh,
so,
I will?
Yeah, absolutely.
I won't wear a hijab though.
Yes.
So on that note, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program is going to continue. We'll be back.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply. Atanong, oro mobile amen keso pura andere Q mobile. Mobile no yade jamano. Tenon kadi no webi na fitora golmo. Tenon mojogi piji bui. Battery on ko balde tati. FM radio. Lampu. Memory card storage. Ko SIM card ili o jettata ɓura andirede dual SIM dogu joni yaha ka customer care center jamen soda oɗo mobile temeɗɗe jeego rek te a heɓay temed tati minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wowlay te non a heɓay kadi ko ɓura andirede temed tati SMS te a yoɓata hay hunde ɓe sendanama ɗum e nder lebbi tati si tawiɗa faalahen ko laaɓi noddu QCell customer care e 111 QCell suñu boss minen udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum no yaadi e sartaji.
Felenting a Q Smart and Q Smart Plus na falie hade natal senyaringol set aka wallata akata bake yenyin soto kat ko mobile tariyarim ba andum foka pare ala batterio beta ala wati janda aka ji Q Smart ya 5.9 immersive display la soto nyindu mu dalasi wuli sabanin kemenani da malati ni mobile o nyin sang iba bondulo soto la min tata for 15 GB andum kemeni muang free talk time fanam betara yele warning keme saba SMS o foka pare nyimbe mu free lati ni mobile o nyin sang walante fana ni lafta Q Smart Plus la wo fanam bijele ice screen warman bala soto minketa 6.5 inches de anin dalasi wuli nani damma isa nyi mobile o soto no andu foka pare afana nim bundle package ole nata iba 30 GB data soto la yekeme saba SMS o soto ani yekeme ni muang talk time soto nyimbe dun hani feng ita jola kana tu koma ila Q Smart ni ila Q Smart Plus soto bi kabo QCell la.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Masuri Balde. Now let's move to the third segment of this program, and we have Faba Kari Toure, Consumer Protection Manager, and of course Fatu Nyang, Consumer Protection Officer. And we'll be talking about the school study on consumer welfare. Gentlemen and lady, welcome to this program. And we'll start with Fabakari. Please take us through what this consumer study means.
Thank you very much. This consumer, we call it competition and consumer protection studies because we are mandated by Section 15K of the Competition Act 2007 and Section 16(1)J of the Consumer Protection Act 2014 to carry out research in various sectors of the economy in the Gambia, to assess the state of competition, and also the welfare of consumers. And normally, we don't just go and just start a study. Normally, it's in response to public outcry. And this time, that's what happened. We had a lot of complaints from parents, consumer groups regarding the existence of what they call tying and bundling, exclusivity, and other unfair business practices in the school sector. So we, and normally in the private schools. And what really happened was that initially we wanted to look at only private schools because that's where the complaint emanated from. But the commission was the view that maybe we should look at also the government schools, grant aided schools included. So we went to all regions of the country, all the administrative regions of the country. I think it's 6 administrative regions in the country. We interviewed about 128 schools in all the administrative regions of the Gambia, and we also interviewed about 326 parents to gauge the state of competition and consumer welfare in the school sector. Yes, that's how we do it.
So before we move to the conversation proper, it would be interesting to know some of the laws currently that are in place and how effective is the enforcement of these laws, consumer laws.
Thank you very much. We have a Competition Act, and the Competition Act is there to promote competition and make sure that we eradicate all forms of anti-competitive practices in the Gambia. And when I say anti-competitive practices, I'm referring to tying. What tying involves is making the sale of one product conditional upon the purchase of another. Like, for example, it's very common in the market. If, for example, somebody is selling tomato paste and onion, if you don't buy the onion, the person does not want to sell the tomato paste to you. And we also have what we call exclusivity, where, for example, one person just controls, let's say, the importation of books into the Gambia. Like, that will be given to only person. Only one person will have that
monopoly
right.
of the business.
Yes, a monopoly in that area, and no other person will have the right to bring those books. So if you're in a monopoly position, what happens? You can distort competition. You can put the prices up beyond the purchasing power of an ordinary Gambian. Only the very rich people, strong people who have the financial muscle can buy from you. So that comes under competition. And under competition also we have what we call collusive agreements, like price fixing. That's when businesses come together to put the price beyond the reach of the ordinary person or ordinary Gambian. Normally, what we believe is that people should compete on price, innovation, and things like that. But if, for example, we see that there are people coming together and then putting the price up, then we believe that then the competition is being distorted. And we also have what we call market sharing. Market sharing is also very common. That's where one person will say, okay, stay in Basse and I will stay in Banjul. Let's say two importers of dealers in rice. One will be selling rice in the greater Banjul area, another will be selling rice maybe in Basse end. So they will not go into each other's market. So the person in Basse could charge any price, exorbitant price, and people have to pay for it because it would be very expensive to move from Basse to come to Combo or to come to the greater Banjul area and buy products. And also be difficult for people from here, of greater Banjul area, to move all the way to Basse to buy the same product. So when this happens, then it's the consumers normally who suffer. Yes.
So of all these things that you mentioned, which of the issues that you're mostly confronted with, and how were you able to address them?
Well, I think normally the complaints that we have mostly is with regards to abuse of dominance. And when you say abuse of dominance, that means exclusivity. That means when one person has the greater economic muscle, let's say, but you are considered a dominant player in the according to the Competition Act if you enjoy or you have more than 30% or more of the market. So we fought for that. We fought against it in the tourism sector. We fought against it in the money transfer also market. So exclusive, yes, below the chance. Because what happened in the tourism sector, what we had there before was that there was some sort of, I would say there was exclusivity, and we conducted a study in 2015 to see how this has impacted on hoteliers and other accommodation providers.
Exactly. So we'll come back to you.
Yes.
Let's engage Fatou Nyang. Fatou, what methodologies do you use to assess, that fairness within the students and those carrying out these businesses?
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for that question. Normally, the method that we use, it was the mixed method approach, that is the qualitative, which involves asking participants their ideas and stories about the school study, and also the quantitative, like mentioning, asking them about which involves taking numbers, the statistics basically. So that is the method that we've used. We've interviewed these people, the market players, which are we develop questionnaires for the schools, for the parents, for the MDAs, that are the ministries, development and agencies. And also we develop questionnaires for bookstores, like the ones that sells books to both schools and parents also. And also we've developed questionnaires we've interviewed also the educationists. The educationists, we interview them, and the cluster monitors, yeah.
Okay.
We've interviewed those
Yeah, so
people.
how do you ensure reliability and validity of the data that is collected? How do you ensure, okay, this is followed up and, you know, it is implemented at the end of the time?
Well, because the thing, like if we go to the schools, the ones that we've interviewed, we make sure that we interview the most reliable person, who is either the principal or the senior officers. Yes, and for the educationists, I think those people, they have the adequate knowledge about what the education sector is all about. The parents also interview them about their opinions with the schools that their children are enrolled in. Yeah, and basically, I think that is reliable.
In terms of the ensuring that consumers are well informed about consumer protection rights, about their safety, quality of products, how often do you engage consumers to ensure that they know their rights and responsibilities, particularly this school tour that you embarked on? How was the level of awareness of these people that you engage?
Yes, to be honest, like what the commission does, we normally do have these radio programs talk about basically what are the rights and responsibilities of the consumer. And recently we even had a program at Kotu Senior Secondary School, where we one of my colleagues went there to do a program about, like, if you have a case, how are you going to report it to the commission? Yes, we tell them that you have your right and responsibility, and whatever the case, if your rights are infringed, you have the law to back you, and you have the commission that you can seek your redress.
Where is the commission?
The commission is at a court near the fire service.
Do they have any toll-free number that people
We
can...
have, no,
people
but
in
we
Basse-
have.
You have direct
We
line?
have, yeah, that is 50,033. Yeah, that is the office line.
Well, I think, Julde, you know, direct lines are more reliable than toll-free numbers. Yeah, so let's come back to Fabakary. Okay, what recommendations do you anticipate, you know, based on this study that you carried?
Yeah, the recommendations are multifaceted. There are so many, but I think we can stick to the most important ones for this discussion. We believe that the allegation of tying and bundling, because it should be investigated. And we also believe that there should also be a further inquiry into the allegation of exclusivity, because there was an allegation, as I've stated earlier on, that, you know, the people who are importing these books from outside into the country, in particular private schools that sit to what they call external examination, they have a special books that they import into the country, and they don't sell it to any other dealer. But this allegations has not been proven during our research. So we want to do further investigation to establish the veracity of these allegations. And we also think that there should be consumer awareness. So that means we should try as much as possible to liaise with other stakeholders, including educational authorities, to create awareness about consumer protection and the competition legislation in the Gambia. And also, we want to make sure that we go to schools, because this affects many schools, to make sure that, you know, schools form what they call consumer groups. I think that has even started with Kotu Senior Secondary School. I remember going to their, you know, summer camp to, you know, sensitize them on their rights and responsibilities as consumers. But also the most important aspect of it is also to make sure that we work with the stakeholders and to make sure that the recommendations of this report are also implemented.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that's the most important aspect of it, really. Yes.
Yeah. So finally, you know, what do you have for our viewers? And what areas do you study? Like, do you investigate and do these findings? What areas? Is it only the schools? Or I want to also understand, do you encourage competition as well?
Yeah, the commission, as he rightly mentioned earlier, like we have 3 dual mandates, which are the Competition Act, which promote competition in the supply of goods and services, which was enacted in 2007. And we also have the Consumer Protection Act, like which promotes fair and which promotes consumer welfare by prohibiting like market abuse that the businesses engage or that the consumers suffered from. So now the thing that we have, like during the study, the methods that we've adopted, we've looked at some themes like the issue of tying and bundling, because as he rightly mentioned during his introduction, it was an allegation that there was tying, exclusivity, and the high price of cost of private education. Yes. So given the fact that there were issues on that, so what we've done was we've looked at some consumer protection laws. So, and we've done our analysis based on that. We have the food safety and requirements, food safety and hygiene requirements. We have the consumer safety bit. We have the non-disclosure bit, because that was also part of the unfair terms and conditions that schools and the value market players were imposing on students. Yes. So when we talk about the non-disclosure, like if you go to Section 7.1 of the Consumer Protection Act, it states that a supplier who wants to execute a contract with the buyer, he should make sure to disclose all the relevant information before the execution of the contract.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So thank you very much, Fatou Nyang and Fabakary Toure. And we've already exhausted our time, and we hope to engage you in the future, more in the future, and for us to understand what you do. I think there is a little problem. Most Gambians don't understand what you people are doing. So I think it involves a lot of sensitization and teaching the people what you people are here for. Because we need to have a place where we can go and cry, soldiers that we can lean on. To tell them what our problem is. I think there should be more sensitization, Fabakary.
I agree, and we have started that. We normally go to all the administrative regions of the country, and then I think Bamba has just concluded with our competition department. So whenever we are going out, we make sure that we go with the competition department and consumer protection department, and all of them will be sensitizing the consumers, the businesses on their obligations and their rights as far as the provisions of the 2 acts are concerned.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Viewers, will take a short break. After the break, then we will take the second to last segment of this program. We'll be right back.
It's happy time. Get 50% off all calls to any network. Enjoy calls every day to any network from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is it too good to be true? QCell. We innovate, others follow. As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network. QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Get a QCell SIM card for free. Yes, absolutely free. Walk into any of our customer care centers and get a SIM free of charge. With a QCell SIM card, you can get the fastest and the most reliable internet plus wide range of amazing services. So rush now to any of our care centers and get a free SIM now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. That's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunubus. We innovate, others follow.
With so many things to do in a single day, it's important to have a network you can trust. When there's family and friends to connect with and business calls to make, you need a network that is reliable and fast. Talk longer, browse faster, go farther, and roam wider. When your network is solid, the world is your oyster. QCell, your trusted network in the Gambia.
Banking the smart way with the new Aji Bank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single tap.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. Now let's move to the other segment of this program, and Pink October is what we'll be discussing. If you can remember, last week or so, we invited the economic team in the studios, and we talked about breast cancer screening. And they were conducting it, going around to different health centers to help people screen and know their status. So today, we are going to do a demonstration in the studios where, you know, we would see how to examine yourself as a woman, you know, to be able to know whether you should proceed with finding out whether what's with you, it's breast cancer or not. And we have Captain Dr. A.S. Sule. Sule? I mean, I'll find it very difficult to mention to mention your name because I mean, might be we're not used to some of these names. Yeah. We're used to the Boubacar Ibrahima Cherno. Yeah. So. Economic Level 1 Hospital Union Barracks, and of course we have Corporal Iyama Hilda Igana, you know, nursing officer, Economic Level 1 Hospital Union Barracks. So gentlemen, lady, welcome to QTV this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so we start with ladies first. Here, we've given so much powers to the ladies. So you are welcome on this program.
Thank you, sir.
Please tell us what you do.
Okay. I am a nursing officer that works in the Udom Hospital. So we are here to make references and enlighten people about the issue of breast cancer and how to educate them to examine their breasts by themselves. Because early detection of this breast self-examination aids to treat them early enough not to have the breast cancer. So that's why we are here in the national TV to educate girls, women all over the world in Gambia, precisely, on how to teach them how to examine their breasts, to detect any lump, any abnormality, and report as soon as possible to prevent the breast cancer. Thank you.
Yeah, so Dr. Sule, at this point we'll engage you. I mean, the issue of breast cancer, I mean, it's a call for a concern. It's affecting many people, but some people, before they realize it's breast cancer, it's too late. What do you think is the problem?
Yes, thank you for having me. Thank you, Gambians. The problem is early presentation in the hospital. We in Africa, we have a culture of secrecy, and the breast is a sensitive part of the body. So a lot of people don't discuss any issue about the breast.
True.
So before they can detect the earlier symptoms that we can use to make diagnosis and also take appropriate action, it will be too late. So late presentation in the hospital is one of the reasons why most of our women die of breast cancer. Thank you.
So how is the breast cancer screening, you know, that you're conducting at the moment? How is it going?
Yeah, so far so good. The ECOWAS mission in Gambia has lent its voice to creating awareness among Gambians. We started a program on the 4th of this month in Banjul, and then we moved to Bakau, we screened women, and then over to Banjul again, and then early this last week we were in Barra, and we have started getting response from Gambians. For example, in Bakau, during the screening, we saw a case that actually women actually came out. Even yesterday in my facility in Yundu, women have started coming to speak and to ask to be checked if they have any issues. So overall, the response from the Gambians are overwhelming, and a lot of people are becoming aware of breast cancer and how to detect it early.
Yes.
The case in Bakau, was that the only case you were able to detect out of all the screening you've conducted?
Yes, that was the typical case of early presentation of cancer. Where we examined a lot of women with their breasts.
So due to time constraints, I mean, let's head straight to the demonstration. You know, we have few minutes to go. So I'm pretty sure we would be able to, I mean, get to the last stage of the demonstration.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to demonstrate two positions for self-breast examination. So I'll demonstrate the first one, which is standing position. So you place your two hands, you take off your shirts, you stand on a standing mirror in front of you. Then you place your two hands by your side. You watch your breast, you check if there's any change in size, any changes in color, any skin patches on your breast or your nipple, you observe it. Then you place your hands on your hip.
Okay.
Still standing, looking at the mirror. You check the shape of your breast. You check for any patches, any skin discoloration around your nipples or the breast. Then you place your two hands on your head. This time around, you want to examine the armpits, if there is any swelling or any redness around the armpits. And you also check the breast too. Underneath the breast, when you lift your hand up, you can examine the underneath of the breast. Then the next position, you place one hand on your back of your head, and you use the three parts on your hand to examine the breast. So I want to examine the left breast. So I will share the breast into 4 quadrants. Then I will use the 3 parts of my hand to start examining the breast. I will examine like this, in a circular manner. Examine the breast, examine the breast, examine the armpits. You go deep, examine the breast, you feel for any lump. Examine the breast, you examine the armpits. You examine the areola, the middle part of the breast, for any lump. Then you express the milk, the breast for any milky discharge, any blood discharge, then you note it down.
Okay.
Then I want to examine the next breast. I'll place my hand at the back of my head. I'll use the 3 parts of my fingers. I'll divide the breast into 4 quadrants. Then I'll start the examination. I'll examine, examine round. Make sure you examine all the tissues of the breast. You examine the armpit, you feel for any lump, you note it. You examine again, examine deep, examine. Then you examine the armpits, examine the areola. Then you express the nipple for any blood or milky discharge. Then this examination is always done once every month, 5 days after menses. Yes, then you examine it.
Okay,
so
all right.
I want to do this.
Yes, so we have...
You cannot do it while sitting down. You can only do it while
Yes, while standing on the mirror.
Okay.
So the next position is lying down position.
Okay.
So it's as though I'm the one lying down.
Okay.
So you take a towel, fold a towel like this. This hand that you want to examine is at the back of the head. As long as the hand I want to examine, I'll place it at the back of the head. Then the towel I want to examine will be placed under the breast I want to examine. So I'll divide the breast into 4 quadrants too. Then I'll start my examination with my 3 parts of my fingers. I will examine the breast, examine the breast, examine the breast, examine the armpit too. This time around is deep examination because as I'm lying down, the breast spreads. So it's able for me to detect any lump around the breast. So I'll examine the nipple, the areola, then express the nipple for any discharge. So I'll go to the next part of the breast. So, this over here, this hand at the back of the head, like this.
Okay.
I divide the breast into 4 quadrants. So I'll start my examination. Examine, examine, examine the armpit too for any lump. Examine the areola for any swelling or lump. Then express the nipple for discharge, like milk or blood stain. Then you note it down. And this should also be conducted once in every month. So for women that are menstruating, 5 days after menstruation, because the breasts are tender when you are menstruating. So after the menstruation, you do the test.
So in terms of the lying position and that of the standing, should you do it simultaneously or just one is enough?
You can do it simultaneously because when you lie down, the breast will spread. So the tissues will be examined properly. And it's deeper when you are examining on lying down position.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so interesting. For how long is this breast cancer screening, going? Is it throughout the month? I mean, you'll conduct it throughout the month.
Yes, that is why we call it Pink October. Pink October is an internationally recognized month that the international community has set the month to highlight the issues of breast cancer, which is killing our women, our mothers, our sisters worldwide. So most of the challenges about the awareness campaign and most of the issues affecting breast cancer is brought to the fore so that we can discuss about it and see a way of reducing mortality here in the Gambia and in the world.
So Julia, quickly.
Yes, how do one prevent themselves from having breast cancer?
Yes, so let's...
Okay.
Allow her to delve into that.
Prevention of breast cancer. Like I say, early detection. When you screen it, when you have a lump in your breast, it does not mean that you have a breast cancer. You have to come for some further investigations that they can screen you like the mammograph. It can actually detect if the tissue is benign or malignant. That's one. Then secondly, diet. You have to eat healthy food. Most times, preservative food, also there are carcinogenic substances that are used in preserving food. So we should avoid such food. Then smoking. Then there are some women that they are breastfeeding. Mothers, they don't like breastfeeding. They like keeping their breast standing. And as such, it can make them predispose them to breast cancer. Then other factors like hormonal replacement therapy. There are some people that use some artificial hormones. So as such, it predispose them to have the breast cancer. Thank you.
So how about those that are having the issue of genetic?
Yes.
How do they go about that?
There are those that are at risk of breast cancer because they inherit some bad genes from their parents. So most times their mothers, their sisters, their auntie have have breast cancer. So they are predisposed. They are at high risk, about 25% risk. If they inherit such a gene from them, we call them BRCA1, BRCA2 gene, which helps in keeping the cells of the breast in the right shape, in right division. But when you inherit that gene, the cells of the breast can become can go haywire, can become crazy in late terms, and so such people we encourage them to go on genetic screening. So if they are screened for the gene and they have it, they can go. Some can go for what we call prophylactic mastectomy. They can decide to remove their breasts if they have high risk of.
Yeah. So finally, I mean, doctor, I would like you to settle this dispute today.
Yes,
my friends in the office, they said men should suck breast. I don't know. I'm just asking to help prevent breast cancer. People like Francis, Jibril, Aliou Jallo, they like advocating for men to suck breast very well. Is that true?
Okay. First and foremost, I want to say men are not excluded in the breast cancer issue. About 0.5 to 1% of men do have breast cancer too. Research have not shown that men sucking breast prevent breast cancer. The only thing that can help is early detection. Because if you are sucking a breast that you normally suck and you see a nipple, you see some discharges, you can easily alert your partner to report.
Absolutely.
So that is the only thing.
So
the only thing we know is that women that are breastfeeding their babies, the hormones that is responsible for producing breast milk replaces the estrogen that causes their breast to grow fast. So that 1 year replacement of the hormone helps the woman to...
All right, thank you, doctor. I just want to clear that. I'm pretty sure my colleagues are
listening. Not scientific. It's not scientific.
So Jibril, you and Aliou Jallo, it's not scientific. If you want to do it, do it. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we hope to engage you more. We want to see more of this.
Yes, our activities continue today and tomorrow and next. So we encourage all Gambians to follow us and to be in Yundu and Brikama. And you have a free breast screening.
Thank you. I mean, the demonstration was really interesting. And I'm pretty sure many people have learned a lot from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, then the sports world will be right back.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Ajibank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner.
The future is now. With QCell's 5G network, experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled device. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyapus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for the perfect place to promote your product or place your advert? Look no further than QTV. We are the premier destination for businesses looking to connect with Gambian audiences and beyond. At QTV, we offer a variety of advertising solutions to suit your needs and budget. With our diverse range of programming, you can be sure that your ad will reach a broad and engaged audience. From our popular news broadcast to our exciting music and entertainment programming, QTV has something for everyone. QTV, the premier destination for advertising in the Gambia. Contact us today and let us help you reach your audience.
When you talk about the breast, Yusufa Toure is always excited. I don't know why. Yeah, so we are back, and now let's talk about sports. We have our man, all blacked up today, black men in black, Momodu Gajaga, with the sports wall.
Thank you very much, Brian Balde. It's a pleasure to be here, always, to talk about the game that we love most, football. And what a better way to start with victory for the Gambia in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, Morocco 2025, as they've gone a step further in their quest to qualify for their third consecutive Africa Cup of Nations. Yesterday, with a victory against Madagascar. It was 1-0, but a win is a win in football. We always celebrate when our teams win, whether they won by a goal, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Very difficult game for the Gambia. Madagascar played better as opposed to the first leg. You and I sat here yesterday, we were talking about how well the Gambia played in the first leg, which ended 1-1 and then dominated possession, has most of the ball possession in terms of chances created as well. But yesterday it was the opposite. Madagascar played better than the Gambia, even though in terms of chances, yes, Gambia created better chances.
That's football.
Yes, but that's how football works sometimes. But at the end of the day, yes, Gambia first got the opportunity in the first half through Musa Barrow penalty. Yankuba Minte was brought down in the box, and then that penalty, Musa Barrow failed to convert. The goalkeeper of Madagascar did brilliant. He saved the penalty. And then, you know, the team kept pushing. In the second half, there was this very great move by Yankuba Minte down the wing. You know, he dribbled past the Madagascar defender and then turned just needlessly past the ball to Musa Barrow. It was almost a goal line kick that Barrow just easily tapped into the net, and you know, it was 1-0 Gambia. Madagascar tried everything possible, pushed forward, made some substitutions to get an equalizer, but eventually Gambia sealed the victory. And this has put us in a very good position. Now we're second in the group, but equal with Comoros on points. They are playing later today against Tunisia. So what the Gambians can hope for, or what we can pray for, is for Tunisia to beat Comoros in this game, because that gives us a good edge. It means we'll still be equal on points with Comoros going into the last two matches. And the next two matches will be in November, that's next month. First, November 11th, we are going to play against Comoros. It should be a home game for the Gambia, but pending the approval of the stadium still. Well, according to insider information that I received, it's a 50-50 situation. It might be approved for us to play there, that home game. It might not be approved because of the time factor. But the stadium is almost certainly 99% done in terms of the requirements that are needed. But whether it is within the time frame for it to be approved, that's not completely in the hands of the Gambia, but in the authorities of the Confederation of African Football. But this puts it in a very good position. So immediately after the game, the coach, Jonathan McKinstry, was satisfied with the result. Yes, the performance somehow, the Gambia played under pressure, but let's listen to him first.
Today was a lot more. We had to suffer for it today. I thought we defended very well today. I also thought we created the key chances in the game. Our goalkeepers made a great save from the penalty in the first half, but we haven't let our heads drop. It's very easy when you get that chance and you're pushing for it to then, when it doesn't go in, to let your heads drop, but I thought everyone kept going. And then into the second half, obviously Musa comes up well with the goal, great work from Yankuba, and really we could have had one or two more after that on the break. So look, it wasn't the prettiest game of football that you've ever seen, but that's the way the game is. You know, some days you can play beautiful football, and other days you've got to work for it and you've got to grind for it and you've got to take your chances, and that's what we did today. So we're really pleased with the result. It carries us through into the November window with, you know, match day 5 is going to be a big game against Comoros.
Yes, it's going to be a big day against Comoros. I wish it's at the Independence Stadium, Balde. I just can't imagine the feeling and how the atmosphere is going to be like Gambia's first game at the Independence Stadium since after the renovation. We haven't played there now close to 4 years.
Wow,
that's a home game.
That's a long time.
Our last competitive game there was, if my memory serves me well, this was in 2021 when we played against Angola for the last qualifiers. That's when we qualified for our first Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. So that was the last time we played there in a competitive match. Yes.
Well, you know, home support is also very important. I mean,
very
it
vital.
boosts the
Very
energy
vital.
and the self-esteem of the
Yes.
players.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I think they should look into this so that, I mean, we play at
Sure.
home, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are definitely missing a lot. Yeah, the atmosphere would be fantastic. And now, okay, with the way the stadium is looking and on the pitch as well, yeah, the pitch is looking very good. And plus some other facilities, they're working on the scoreboard, which used to be, you know, the analog scoreboard.
The olden days.
The olden one. But now it's going to be the digital one. Of course, when the match is on, if there is a goal, it will be oblated on the scoreboard. You can see it if you're within the stadium and even if you are outside as well. So it's going to be digital. So all those facilities are available.
So how did you see that team, Comoros? How are they very strong?
They're a good side. They played against us and gave us a good run for our money. That's why we drew against them. It was 1-1 when we played against them. Yes, it was a game away from home. It was a home game for them, but for Comoros also their home stadium is not approved. It's just like the Gambia is under suspension unless and until they improve it to standard. So that's why they are also playing their home matches in Morocco. So even today's game is their home game against Tunisia, but the game is going to be played in Morocco. That first leg that they played against the Gambia, Comoros really gave a good account of themselves. Yes, on paper you can say maybe Gambia has attained a little bit of football better than them, slightly, but that doesn't show much on the pitch, because that's the reason why they were able to go to Tunisia and beat Tunisia in their own backyard. So it shows that, you know, it's highly competitive, and this is one of the most competitive group in the AFCON this year, because, okay, if you look at the standings, currently it's Tunisia who are top after 4 matches. Oh, after 3 matches, because they played a game less. They're playing later today for their 4th game. After 3 matches they played, they're 6 points. And then the Gambia, after 4 matches, we have 5 points. Comoros, after 3 matches, they have 5 points. And then you have the team that is rock bottom on 2 points, that is Madagascar. So it makes the group highly competitive. So going into the last 2 games, in the next window in November, it's going to be very, very tough.
Well, I'm hopeful Gambia will get something out of it, because we are not settling for less now.
Yes, I think we have tasted AFCON.
Oh,
we've gone there for the second time again. We want to go on and on again. Every qualifiers we want to be there.
And not just go this time, but also win.
Maybe even perform
and
better.
You know, the first AFCON, we played up to quarterfinal.
Quarterfinals.
Can you imagine?
Yes, most definitely.
You know, so we tried. So, Momodu Gayaga, thank you for the update.
Appreciate it.
And we hope to engage you on Thursday.
Most definitely. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Julde, this is all we have.
Until we come your way tomorrow. Until they come your way tomorrow for another edition
of
this.
Here tomorrow,
I will be here.
Come on. All right. So, viewers, will take a short. Okay, not short break. Actually, we are closing the program until we come here again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.